Hey guys, what's up? This is Sasha, and today we are going to be learning some beginner's dressage. Now, as a lot of you may know, I did own a dressage-based club called Iron Champions a little while back. It was a, Night Star dressage-based club, and believe it or not, a lot of the SSO dressage you see today in Night Star originated from Iron Champions and myself. Most of the moves that I made up have become really popular in Night Star, along with the basic overall method of running a dressage club. So today I'm going to be showing you exactly what I did in order to break in my new members and teaching them the bare basics of dressage. So today I have Britney Goldside, also known as Brie, Brit, or Moldy, which I call her. So I'm not saying that my way of SSO dressage is the same as everybody else's, but as you may know, Iron Champions was a very successful dressage club, and I'm going to be teaching you today some of the basics I taught the new members and basically the new people who just joined our team. Alrighty, so what I'm about to show you guys is basically what I would do to break in the new members of my club and kind of ease them in to becoming really good SSO dressage riders. Now, becoming a good and efficient, well-oiled machine, like as a team, it takes a lot of time and a lot of practice and even a lot of trust. So really what I did is when new members came into Iron Champions, I would kind of just ease them into the process and really spend time on the bare basics, because I mean the core building blocks of SSO dressage is very important. You can't really skip ahead to the advanced stuff. You want to take your time and you want to get used to the easy stuff first. So with that, I kind of introduced new members to certain areas that really kind of open them up to the idea and just kind of introduce them to new things. So the first thing we'll be learning is something called forms. Forms is a very useful tool. It's not even really dressage related, but it kind of gets new members in your team into the mood and kind of into focus, and it can really help like outside of the arena. And if you have like a large club or you have a large activity going, these forms can really help you get yourselves in order really fast, and I found them to be very useful in Iron Champions and even in my new club, the Star Squad. So forms are very simple. There are 5 of them currently that I keep at the top of my head, and there is line up with me, herd form, nose to tail, and huddle. These forms are the forms I use the most, and I've come up with them. I think that they were like the first things I came up with in Iron Champions to kind of get my club together, because if you didn't know, Iron Champions wasn't a dressage club off the bat. That's something I came up with later on and worked on a few months after I had made my club. So basically, I'm going to show you exactly what each form is and how they can work in a club or an activity situation. So the first form we have is line up. Line up is very easy. All you do is you have your members line up in front of you, or whoever you would like them to line up in front of. This can be very useful and very efficient, especially if they learn it fast and quick, because the idea is to get into forms as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Forms really might not make sense now, but when you're teaching new people or your club members or your friends about dressage, you want to make it fun and you want to make it easy. So think about it like this: if they're learning these very easy forms that really don't have anything to do with dressage, they still teach your members to adapt to the situation and, try their best and fit into the situation as best as they can. And learning that can really help your members or your friends or your team later on when you're doing more advanced dressage. So this is line up. The next form we have is line up with me. It's similar, but you don't want to confuse them. Line up with me is basically where your club or your team lines up beside you, so like shoulder to shoulder. The next form we have is herd form, which is pretty self-explanatory. All you do is you have your club follow the leader basically, and that can be you or whoever you want it to be. Herd form is fantastic for traveling distances. And next we have nose to tail, a form we all know and love. It can also be known as NTT because you can say that in Night Star. Nose to tail is simple, but it's also complicated in its own way. As simple is it's just a single filed line, but there are ways that nose to tail can be very complicated in certain ways, and you don't really want to put this too strongly on like new members, so we won't go over in depth what nose to tail is, but there is a lot into nose to tail in a efficient and well working team. And lastly, we have the form called huddle. It's basically like a donut. All you do is you huddle up and put your horse's noses in. This one is one of my favorites because you call huddle and everyone gets in, and then you can give like a pep talk, because dressage it's really just a fun activity you do with your friends, and you want to make dressage fun and you want to make it a positive experience. I've seen a lot of clubs be run under a lot of pressure, and although there is some pressure when it comes to SSO dressage, you don't want to make it only about work. And for a while, even I struggled with making it fun and having it being, instructive. And really, you want to make it fun, you want to make it positive, and you don't really want to make it a burden. Alright, so those are the 5 forms. They're really not hard to remember once you get the hang of it. And again, you want to start out slow and easy, and even if this doesn't seem like it has to do a lot with SSO dressage, trust me, it will help your club or your team so much in the future.
Oh my god, no one heard that.
Forms are basically just a fun and easy way to start learning the bare minimum and the basics of being a dressage team. It's really just about building trust and, becoming a closer and more well-oiled machine when it comes to doing SSO dressage. So the first portion of this video and the beginner's guide to SSO dressage was forms, and now we're going to learn the second portion, which is called directional cues, or I like to call them commands. Commands are very easy, and basically commands are endless. It's basically, as it sounds, just a directional cue. Directional cues and commands can go as far as being as simple as halt or as easy as trot, and it's just basically informative. And once your club recognizes it, it becomes faster and easier. Again, it just takes practice and practice. So we're going to go over all of the, or most of the commands that I use on a daily basis. Alright, so the first command we have is called cut. Cut is very simple. All you do is, now if you're an individual and you're just warming up, which is something I love to do when I'm working with my team, when you're an individual, all you do is you cut across the ring, you reach the other side of the wall or the arena. You're going to go the same way you were when you first cut the arena. But however, if you are in a group, if you are leading, then you are the one who cuts, and if you are following, you don't make your own individual cut, you follow the cut that was done by, the leader of the line. And the next command we have is circle, which is, again, very simple. All you do is circle off the rail. Now, if you are in a bigger line, of course, you don't want to cut off the end of the line, so you have to kind of be conscious about how big or small you make your circle if you are leading the line. And again, if you are following, then you follow the circle, and if you are an individual, then you do your own individual circle, however big or small you want. And the next command is reverse. Again, very simple. All you do is you turn around off the rail and get back to the rail. And same as follows, if you're leading the line, then you make the reverse, and if you're an individual, then you have your own individual reverse. The next command is something called it's diagonal, but I actually remember I struggled a lot with spelling out diagonal because sometimes I am the worst speller. I couldn't figure out how to spell diagonal for a while, so instead of saying diagonal, you say dye. And it's like the food coloring dye, so that's where dye came from, if you didn't know. The thing with SSO Dressage is that you really have to be quick because you're writing and typing, and if you're like me, and I'm horrible at it, it took me forever to figure out how to successfully do that without ramming myself into a wall. You want to make your names for your moves very easy and fast, and very simple, so you can type it out real fast and you're not stuck running into walls trying to spell out your next move. The next commands we have are the pivots. The first pivot is just normally called pivot. It's basically like a half pivot, which you will see later. When you pivot, you either pivot to the left or the right. So if you're on the rail, then of course you would turn off the rail and have your tail to the wall. The next pivot we have is the half pivot, where all you do is you turn your horse around. And the last pivot is called full pivot. It's basically just turning your horse 360 degrees around. Some other smaller commands that aren't really truly necessary are the with me, which is basically just following, and hold. So basically, usually when I'm instructing and I have my line, I will say halt and then I will say hold, and they are to stay still while I trot around and give tips and tricks and things like that. And if I say with me, then they are to follow. I mean, you can just say follow, or you can really just do whatever you want, but again, it just makes my life easier as the dressage instructor. So the last thing I have for you guys is a game called Scatter. I invented it myself in the very, very beginning of when I was making Iron Champions into a dressage-based club. Basically, all you do is you have your club come to you and then you say scatter, and they run around and jump and they are running around all over the place around the arena, and then you call out a form, let's just say like line up, and you call that out and they're supposed to run to you and get into that form as quickly and efficiently as possible. And again, this can be really helpful later on, especially when you're teaching your members advanced stuff. The thing about SSO Dressage is it's really just about connecting with your team and doing something fun together, and it's about taking things easy and doing all the basic stuff first before jumping in and doing the advanced stuff. You have to learn to walk before you run, and I spent a very very long time with all of my members just walking, and that really helped us in the long run because eventually I had a large group of very well groomed and kind of experienced dressage members, and they became my advanced team, and they were very magnificent, and it was just beautiful the way we worked. But it took like months and a lot of time building trust and a relationship with them to where I didn't even really have to say anything and they automatically do it, and we just had this beautiful flow. So again, this is of course a very, very basic guide to beginners dressage. Just remember, have fun, and don't put too much pressure on it in the beginning because it takes time to train, and even as a leader, it takes more time to lead a group and learn how to lead than it is to follow, and it takes time, so don't rush it. Have fun with it. Another thing I'd like to add is, feel free to come up with your own moves, and if you can't do that, which is perfectly fine, there's no shame in it, make sure you give credit to the person who made the moves, and just to have fun, be creative, have fun with your club, and that's really all there is to it. Alright guys, so I think I'm going to continue a series with basically basic dressage, beginners, and then maybe I'll go intermediate, and then eventually I'll go advanced. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you later.